Well, the death of meritocracy in Canada and the West is well documented. We are now all very familiar with diversity quotas and DEI policies. And it's safe to say that there is not a single instance in which diversity quotas have produced a positive result. But there are a few industries in which diversity quotas can be outright dangerous to people. The two examples that immediately jump out would be one, airline pilots. You really don't want to be concerned about diversity quotas when you're responsible for flying an airplane. You just want to have decent, competent pilots. The second example, doctors. Do you really care about the skin color of your doctor when you're sick and dying? Or do you just want to make sure that the doctor who is keeping you alive is actually competent and knows how to do the job? Well, the geniuses over at the Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly known as Ryerson University, have officially launched a new medical program, Canada's newest medical program. And to kick things off, the TMU Medical School has decided that 75% of the first round of students to be admitted into the medical program will be specifically from, quote, equity-deserving groups, which basically just means non-white students. Only 25% of applicants will be selected through the general stream of applicants, while 75% of applicants will be selected through a Black, Indigenous, and LGBTQ admissions stream. So basically, only 25% of students will get to go to the school based on merit, and 75% of students will get there through diversity quotas. The best part about all this? Part of the program is being funded by Ontario taxpayer dollars. A racist medical school specifically choosing to select a majority of non-white students, because apparently that is the best way to solve challenges in the medical field. Now, before we get into the show, be sure to drop a like in this video, help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel. And the comment question is this: what are you doing if you find out that your doctor graduated from TMU Medical School? Let me know your answer in the comments section below, and let's get into it. At this point, we all know that basically every single university and an overwhelming majority of large corporations engage in DEI-based hiring practices. Equity over equality. Equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. But most universities and most large corporations that engage in this practice aren't stupid enough to publicize it for everyone to see. Other than themselves, nobody is accusing the faculty over at TMU of being smart. So of course, they decided to publicize this fact about their new medical school program and expect that everyone would just be totally cool with it. Racial discrimination against white students at a medical school is totally fine. No one would take an issue with that. This may be the world's first DEI medical school because even for some of the most radical, anti-white DEI zealots, this idea was probably too much for even them. But not in Toronto, not at TMU. So this is basically how it's going to work over at the TMU Affirmative Action Medical School. 75% of all applicants of 94 available seats will go to, quote, equity-deserving groups with their own specific admissions stream. There will be a specific Black applicant stream, a specific Indigenous applicant stream, and then a third catch-all diversity stream. And then 25% of the applicants will be selected from the general pool. Oh, and also, no MCAT tests are required to get in to the TMU Medical School. You will only need a GPA of 3.3, whereas, for example, at the University of Toronto, a minimum GPA of 3.9 out of 4 is required. But again, specifically for the diversity students, the minimum 3.3 GPA requirement is actually not required. As the website for the medical school states, in exceptional circumstances, applicants in the three admissions pathways, Indigenous, Black, and equity deserving, with a GPA below the minimum requirement of 3.3, may have their application considered for admission by the relevant pathway subcommittee. And going along with the kind of racist idea that standardized testing disadvantages non-white applicants, the MCAT will not be required. And if you were perhaps under the idea that this is just specifically isolated to the applicants, although that's not good at all, it's not. The medical school wants you to know that DEI is, quote, infused throughout all facets of the School of Medicine, including our hiring and recruitment practices for staff, by the way, for teachers as well. So it's not just prospective students who are being racially discriminated against, it's also staff. Right now, there are a few open job positions at the TMU School of Medicine, one of them being the Associate Dean of Equity and Social Accountability. Another position available for the TMU Medical School is, quote, the thread lead of Indigenous health and, quote, ways of knowing. This is so insane and so outrageous because nobody at the TMU Medical School decided to try to perhaps hide their intentions here. Because it says here at the top of their careers page, diverse communities need physicians who are not only highly skilled, but who are culturally respectful and ready to make change. To train these doctors of the future, a new approach to medical education is needed, one that is founded on community, equity, and innovation. It's truly insane. But it gets even worse, as if it wasn't possible for it to get any worse. It does get worse. And one of the reasons why the medical school will be in Brampton, according to the medical school's own website, is because, as they say, Toronto Metropolitan University selected Brampton as the location for the School of Medicine because the community is diverse, resilient, innovative, and a microcosm of what communities will look like across Canada in the future. It is shocking. What will that look like? Well, for example, Brampton is basically majority Indian. Well, Brampton is not exactly what you would call diverse because the white Canadian population in Brampton has been fleeing the city, while the Indian population of Brampton has been skyrocketing. And according to TMU, that is what communities across the country will look like in the future. Shocking. It is unbelievable. It really is. Check out the video made by TMU about their new medical school, and if you can spot it, tell me who you think was left out of the video.
ਉਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਬੋਲੀ ਬੋਲਣਗੇ.
They would speak our language.
They would understand our culture.
And our faith.
They would know my name, not just my symptoms.
They'd be there, so we don't always have to go to the ER.
We would be empowered to treat the symptoms and the cause.
We'd use AI to improve our quality of life and our quality of care.
We would have a place where we could treat patients and teach students.
We'd learn a holistic approach to medicine that sees the whole person, not just the patient.
We would deliver healthcare to those who need it most.
We would help to build a healthier and more equitable society.
Patients are asking for change. Doctors are asking for change. Communities are asking for change. Through a bold new approach to medical education, we are creating that change.
What's shocking too, and it's something that I never even considered, that even the architecture of the medical school is DEI based. Everything about this school seems to be more concerned about diversity than about medicine. On the campus development website of the school, it says specifically that equity, diversity, and inclusion and reconciliation are being embedded in all design processes and integrated throughout all stages of building program and landscape design development. Even the architecture of the medical school is somehow DEI focused. And really, there's not much that can be done about this situation. The only real thing that can be done about this is for the Ontario government to fully pull its funding for this medical school. After all, are Ontario citizens really okay with having their money go to a medical school that is racist against white students? That is practicing racial discrimination? The Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons has its own diversity movement. The Association of Faculties of Medicine, according to Jamie Sarkanak in the National Post, sees the demographic engineering of applicant pools as a necessary step in bringing about social change. And it's not like TMU can be taken to court over this, because the Supreme Court of Canada has upheld the idea that it is all right, it is okay and legal to discriminate against certain classes of people. That you can't actually be racist against white people. A page straight out of the anti-racist playbook. So again, if you go to a doctor in a few years' time, and that doctor graduated from TMU Medical School, and you see that TMU degree hanging in the office, hanging in the doctor's office, I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty quick to run out of that doctor's office and go find any other doctor. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratio.